the end stream button now. That's here, but the check 1 2. Oh, kind of quiet. Oh, weird. That microphone is actually doing something. Is it not? Audio capture. Built-in microphone. All right. Hey, Bob. We're going to continue on Pentatonic number 3. Anthony, what's going on? Because it's the worst one. So, can you guys hear me okay? I can turn down my guitar a little bit, maybe, and then turn up the mic a little bit. Hello, testing, 1 2. Why is it? It's definitely going through that mic. Audio input capture 2. Okay, so maybe that's the check 1 2. Ah, this is the room. So, yeah, how's this? Is this better, Jim? Sometimes I talk over the plane. I don't know if you can hear both. Is that better? Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, so capture 2. So that's the microphone on the computer instead of this microphone. And so I got to figure out a way to kind of get it to, and you can hear the guitar, but you're hearing it in the room. Because I watched it the other day, I watched one of the streams, and it was like you could hear the guitar, but it was like direct. So it was like this, and I'm like, oh shoot, have all of the lessons been like that? I mean, I guess you still get the gist of what I'm teaching, but I prefer the sound to be a little bit better. I'm going to open this up at the risk. We're going to have over 100 degrees all week, so I'm trying to keep the office fairly cool. The sun is almost overhead, so that windows are to the east, so I get the morning sun, and then after that, it I wouldn't say it cools down, but it definitely I don't get the direct sunlight. So. A bit jangly. I wonder. Hey, so Jim's here, Diane's here, Jim Horst is here, Roger's here. Everybody, let's see how many people we have so far. Analytics, 12, 15, something like that. Not bad. For Wednesday, Beth started working today. She's so happy. Oh my gosh. She hasn't worked since mid-March. Not even freelance stuff, so she's been like really bummed. But she's teaching today. She's teaching for all the way until Thanksgiving. Okay, so I put together 2 progressions here. One, so notice that the pentatonic shape, I have the 2 A's highlighted there with the yellow. Okay, and those are minor roots in the scale. Okay, again, the letter names. Let me do this. Create a text. Whatever. So the minor root A, C, D, E, and G. And 3. All right, and then we'll go a lot smaller with that. Okay. All right. Oh, that doesn't work. And I'll put it up here. Still kind of too white. Should I go with a? Maybe I'll go with a color here. Let me change the color. I could go with a red. I think. Can I change it? Okay, I'm not seeing color options. Weird. Oh wait, maybe down here. Color. Can I just change it this way? Oh, it did. Oh, look at that. That's hilarious. It looks really weird. Okay, that'll kind of work. Weird. It did a gradient thing. So that kind of works. So when we're thinking A minor pentatonic, these you could say the notes in this order: A, C, D, E, G. And so those notes all work over the A chord, of course, over the A7 chord. I've got a progression that I loaded: A7 to D7, and then back and forth. And then a second progression I loaded that we'll go to, which is A7 to D7 to A7 to E7. I didn't order them in a blues configuration. I did them in a shorter kind of 8-bar phrase, so we can get to the chords a little faster and have a more even distribution of the chords. And so over the A7 chord, you have A, C sharp, E, and G. So you can see 3 of those notes in this scale. The C sharp is not. So that means anytime we hit a C, and just for remembrance, these are the C's there, okay? And so anytime you hit a C, you can push it a little bit. So for example, you can go all the way to C sharp if you want, over the A. Or you can go kind of halfway there to get the blues sound. You can do kind of a short kill it, little slight bend. Always sounds good. Now I apologize to the acoustic players that are stuck up here. Wait until you get to the next one. Pentatonic number 4, we're going to be at the 12th fret. Pentatonic number 5, I'll go ahead and position down at the second fret. So we won't have so much of a problem there. But that's one thing. So you can make that accommodation for the A7 chord. All right. Other than that, you're golden. And then the D7 chord, the notes in D7 are D, which we have, F sharp, which we don't have, A, which we have, and C, which we have. So just like the A7 chord, we have 3 notes represented in that scale. We also, over the D7 chord, 3 of those chord tones are represented in this. In both cases, the notes that are not represented are the thirds. So the C sharp we don't have, which is the third of the A7 chord. And don't worry. Okay, there won't be a quiz on this. Yeah, go get a saw, do that cutaway on that Martin Bob. And then, or send it to Bruce. Bruce will do it for you. He's got the tools. And then the F sharp is the third of the D7 chord, and there is no F sharp in there. It's not even an F that we can kind of bend up. So that's one where you might have to either add it to the scale or just kind of play around it and use the 3 notes that are good. The ACD, not ACDC, but just the ACD. Those are great over there. And so I'm just going to play over it a little bit so you can kind of see. I'm going to try to stay within the scale. I may bend that C a little bit. I don't think I'll go to an F sharp. I'll try not to. Okay, so this is just so you can kind of hear. This is over just a 2-chord progression, A7 to D7. A over the A chord. There's the D over the D chord. Bang that C up a little bit. how you can kind of play over just the 1 and the 4 chord in the key of A blues, A7 to D7. That was all that was. I didn't even put a bass in there. Sorry, I got lazy. Let me tune real quick. I'm a little out of tune. I was tuning my I got my lute out because I'm working on a game. Yeah, it was really flat. Yeah, that G string's off. Let's see. Did I miss something? Let's see. Great to know the chords, and we switch between minor and major root along each pentatonic box. Not quite exactly sure what you mean by that, Leo, but yeah, the cool thing is, if you're in the blues, okay, sorry, I've got to get my windows organized here. Okay, if you're in the blues, like this A minor, if we took this whole scale down 3 frets, so instead of having our first finger here on A, we put our pinky on A and do the exact same shape. That's A major pentatonic. So if you have your pinky on it, it's A major pentatonic. If you have your first finger on it and do that pentatonic shape number 3, this shape right here, okay? If you do that shape with your first finger on A, you're going to sound minor over A. If you put with your pinky on A. So let me just do that for a second, just so you can hear it. The problem is we have a C sharp, so that's going to sound weird over the D7 chord. But this will sound very happy over the A7 chord. So let me play that, and I'll go ahead and hit the C sharp over the D so you can see how it kind of doesn't work. See, it works great. It's got an F sharp. C sharp won't work over the D7. That's the change you want to make there. And sometimes, those are the kind of things you do with your ear. You go, you're playing along and you realize, oh wait, that note doesn't work. Here's a little secret. If a note isn't working over, if you're playing a scale and one note isn't working over a chord, I would say, well, it would be really, I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I'm not gonna be too conservative with the statement. Let's say, I'm gonna say that you can go down or up 1 fret and fix it. So if you've got a bad note, like you're playing a scale and all of a sudden a chord shows up and your scale or the one note in that scale is not working. It's particularly true of pentatonic scales. Take that note that's not working and move it down a fret and see if that works. If that doesn't work, take it up a fret, okay? I think with 100% certainty, and that's knowing that there's literally trillions of different chord situations that could occur, with almost 100% certainty that is a trick that will serve you well. And you probably do it automatically because you go, oh, I made a mistake, so I better move. And it wasn't that you made a mistake, it's just that the scale you were playing doesn't work over that chord, so you have to make a slight adjustment to it, okay? And in that case, what I did was the C sharp is going to work over A7 because there's a C sharp in A7. There won't be a quiz on this. But D7 has a C natural, so that C sharp just sounds, where would that be? Like, this, yeah, not going to work. So I went down to C. Now I could have gone up to D, and that would have worked as well because obviously D is going to work over a D7 chord. So I was, doing. But I just like the sound of it. I'm getting that 7th in there. It's just a little more fun than the root. The root is more obvious. Yeah, slide. It will. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Maybe do it twice. You do this kind of thing. Like, here, hold on. This is the secret of jazz. You know, if you make a mistake, do it again. They'll think you did it on purpose, right? See, there I'm going to the root. So I took the bad note and went up a fret. So it's kind of cool. You know, it's a cool trick. Go away. It's a really cool trick that will help you kind of navigate maybe some more complex chord progressions or whatever. I mean, the blues is not complex, but the problem with the blues is that all three chords in a blues progression are in three different keys. So you can't just play one key. That's where A minor pentatonic works pretty well. Because like I said before, in the A7 chord, there's four notes, A, C sharp, E, and G. Of those four, A, E, and G, those are in here, okay? And then the D7 is D, F sharp, A, and C. And the same three notes, the root, the fifth, and the seventh, are also in this scale. And again, don't worry, okay? You're going to start to understand it because I'm just going to keep repeating these things. I've said this before many times, and it'll start to make sense. Things also start to make more sense on the guitar when you start to learn your fretboard. Okay, when you start to learn notes and you're playing a chord, you know, oh, I know how to play a D7 chord. But then if you know your fretboard, then you start looking at the chord and go, wait a minute. There's a D, there's an A, there's a C, there's F sharp, and there's another A. Oh yeah, D, F sharp, A, C. There's the seventh chord. So you'll start to see more things. And like I said, if you're an electric guitar player primarily, I always say the most important thing to do is to learn your fretboard. Learn the notes on your fretboard. And if, obviously it's not the only thing to do, but it's definitely one of those things you want to try to prioritize. You don't necessarily need to know how to read music. I'm just saying know what the notes are on your fretboard, like where are all the E's and all that. That will make finding scales like this one here a lot easier and moving them around, because if you know where the F is, you'll know how to move this to F. You'll know how to move this scale to the F position, or if you want to do it in D minor. And all of these I'm playing the shape right now is this shape here, pentatonic number 3. Okay. So I guess you guys are listening because you're not talking. So that's good. All right. Now, so let's look at this. Let's look at some of these things. I know you're playing. If you're playing acoustic, I'm going to get my footrest out. I think I have this footrest on my YouTube channel. If you look at the, oh, you know what? I need to change the. This is not less than 99, is it? This is less than number 100. Well, we should do some kind of party. Oh, this is 98. Wait, where are we? Is this? I got to edit that. I'm going to edit it right now as we work. I can't remember. Is that not? Are we at 99 or are we at 100? Save. Oh wait, I didn't just. Okay, nothing happened. 99. Okay. So Friday is 100. So we have to have a party. Maybe I'll pull out the. You know what I should do is I should do a drunk lesson sometime. It doesn't take much. My friend that gave me this really, really good bourbon, he came over the other day and we hung out and got some really good barbecue, and we both had a big glass of this stuff. I tell you, it was like, holy cow. I mean, he poured me a big glass, and he actually was like, whoops. And he's from London, so like for him, drinking is nothing. You know, he's like, oh yeah, whatever. So I'm going to give so a little more light. There we go. And so it'd be pretty funny to, I don't know if we'll do it for the, hey Dennis, I don't know that we do it for the 100th lesson though. Maybe when it's cooler, when it's cold in here and I need to get warm, we'll do one. It doesn't take much. So again, here's the A and here's the other A. So these are the two notes. Those are the minor roots. The major roots were here, C, and C. So if you play this scale here at this position over C, it's very happy. If you play over A minor or A7, this same exact scale, these roots here, it's going to sound a lot more minor. Okay, so I'm going to, okay. How many of you, hey, Johnson, Thomas, Andrews. Oh, I missed some conversation here. I guess they've been talking to you. Hey, tuning in from Australia. Oh my gosh, 2 a.m. It's so awesome that you're, yeah, I can't believe they totally shut down Australia. That stinks. My stepbrother lives in Sydney, up, some beach. I can't remember what it's called. Very nice place he has. I'm going to try to not bend. I would guess, let's see, Diane, I think, is probably playing electric. I've seen her with an electric. Bonnie, you're playing acoustic. Tim, let's see, Gary, you're probably playing an acoustic. Keith, I don't know what you're playing. Jan, I don't know what you're playing. Jim, you're playing an acoustic, I think. So I'm going to try not to bend, okay? I'm going to play this progression. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. Hopefully you can still hear it. And just do what I do. I'm going to go real super slow. Okay, I'm just going to play this A note right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wiggle it if you can. Okay, now play the, here, pinky. Now let's go C to A. And that works over the D chord too. Play it again over the A chord. Okay, Bob playing your 10. So now I'm going A, C, A. Okay, now let's go to the G right here, 12th fret. And that's going to work cool over the A, but not over the... It wants to go down to the F sharp, see, down 1 fret. And we can do that. This F sharp is not in the scale. But it's cool because you're going from the 7th of the A chord, which is a nice kind of meaty tone, to the 3rd of the 4th chord of the D7 chord. So that's also kind of a meaty tone. Okay, let's go G to A. And do it again over the D chord. Okay. Thanks, Bruce. Okay, let's go G, A, C, A. This is like hang in there. What's that? The Hawaiian, the surfer thing, right? Yeah. The reason I'm doing the vibrato like that is because I'm pivoting on the side of my first finger right here. Watch. I can do it this way. This would be a violin vibrato. It doesn't really work. Okay, if you go side to side like this, it doesn't do much because you're pushing down on a fret. Violinists don't have frets, so when they're rolling their finger like that, it creates a pitch change. But for guitar, you have to move the string up and down. Okay, G, A, C, A again. Slide into the G. let's go G to E, like this. Up there, see that? Same fret, 12th fret. Okay, now let's go A to D. All right, E to D. See, that sounds weird over the A chord. It sounds good over the D chord because it's a D note. Makes sense. You can hammer on that E if you want. Okay, let's go right down to the A chord from here. I mean to the A note. So we went E, D, C. Sorry, E, D, C, A. And if you want to slide into that E, okay, let's hit each note twice. Just so you got that. Okay, now let's go to E flat. So just here. That's a blues tone right there, right? There's the blues tone. In the key of A minor, that's the blues tone. The E flat. So I went to E natural, now I go to E flat. You can make a lick out of that. E natural. I could go. It's kind of cool. I've never done that before. But it's kind of cool to hear it go back and forth, that E to go to E to E flat. It's also a great exercise. And you could go up now. We can go up. So start on A. Oh, David, you're on electric case. Also, another thing, just so you know, you don't have to play 16th notes, quarter notes, or eighth notes. I probably started on quarter, eighth notes and got up to triplet, 16ths or something. Just speed up. Let someone else analyze what rhythm you just did. Okay. All right. You know what? Let's keep going a little bit longer because I want to work our way down. Let's go down a little bit. Let's go here to this A. Okay. Hit that A. Slide into it. You can slide all the way down from the kid. It's hard because you might miss it. You might go. Hit the C, A to C. Love the sound of that over the D chord. It wants to go to C sharp, right? But that wants to sit there over the D chord. If you want to go to that C sharp, there it is for the A chord, but not over the. Don't do it over the D. Woo! No. There you go. Now just stay on the C for the D chord. Or you can go to D. Okay, let's do that. A, C, C sharp over the A7 chord, and then A, C, D. It's kind of like a melody. You're doing like a theme and variations. Okay, now we're going to go do the same thing, but go to the high A after it. Nice spread there. melodically a nice movement, not just a third or a second. It's a sixth, and then here's a fifth. That's a fifth right there. So I'm going 11-10 for the A chord, and I'm going 10-10 for the D chord. Sorry, my fingers got bored. I'm a bad guitar teacher. That's a bad guitar teacher, and I wasn't as bad. I would teach. Oftentimes, I would get new students because they would come to me and they go, "Yeah, all that I ever did in the lesson was play rhythm for my guitar teacher to practice soloing." I was like, "Yeah, that's a bad teacher." Except I'm not making you guys play rhythm for me. So let's see. Oh, Hook is in the house. Hey, Hook, good to see you. I lost you. Sorry, Tom, I lost you. Also, I just noticed on my Facebook page there was a bunch of messages or comments or people recommending my channel, and I didn't even see those. You know, it's like I'm still trying to navigate. The Facebook business page is completely different, and it's kind of a business page, I guess. It's very, very different from just a normal Facebook page. So it's like posting, you have to, it's all different. But Eric Clapton's use of the pentatonic scale. Well, I would say that a lot of that was what he would do. I'm trying to think of... Now that's in D minor. If we were in A, we could do that like. But that was "Sunshine of Your Love" is an example of him using that blues tone, the flat fifth. It's root, seventh root, fifth, flat five, four, third, the flat third, and then root, third, root. Of course, the song is in D. It does change key though, I think, at some point. I'd have to kind of come up with some specific songs, maybe. So, that's an E minor, and that song is definitely an E minor though. It's not like he's playing blues licks, because that F sharp betrays that he's kind of playing over E minor. But let's see, and I would say he generally plays a lot in pentatonic number 1. Pentatonic 3, not so much. Like I said, 3 is the least common that people play in, but as we're discovering, I like it. I like the top 2 strings because I got access to that flat 5. I love the sound of that. I got the second, which is great over there. It's great over A minor stuff. You got the F right there, so you can do that sus thing over the C chord. So there, right there, you've got some fun things you can do. And then even that part of it is exactly this part of pentatonic number 1. Again, to reiterate, the reason why I call this, the worst of the 5 pentatonics is because it's not right. It's not close to the pentatonic number 1, it only has 2 roots in each of the major and minor keys, whereas pentatonic number 1 has 3 of each. In this position, the pentatonic number 1 has 3 A's and 3 C's, but this one only has 2 A's and 2 C's. The other thing is it's got a position shift. It's the only one that's not just over 4 frets. All the others are just over 4 frets. You have no position shift. This one you have to make some kind of accommodation. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the next progression, all right? And the next progression is going to have, I'll play it. Let's see here, hold on. Same, starts out the same. Goes to A and D. Now it's going to go to E7 for the next 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to have to make an accommodation. But let's just... That A works over both those chords, but not over this E. There, see, I go down a fret, and there's a good note. But that note is out of the key. Going A, C, A, C, A, C, A, C. Now go to... So what we can do is, when you get to the A chord, when we get to the E chord, we can take that C note and go to B. F chord, or the A chord, now the E chord. Okay, play with me. A. Again, over the A chord, A works. Okay, now we're going to slide up to the B, 2 frets. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, wait, Tom, you said I only had to go 1 fret. Well, you could. Stay on the A. Now go up, down 1 fret. Up when you get to the E chord here. Now. And that's G sharp. Now if we were on the C note here, that's the... The C works nice over the A and the D, but over the E it doesn't work. That's why we like that B note. Okay, now, let me stop this music for a second. Okay. The thing is, what we created, inadvertently, we created pentatonic number 5. And so the top 2 notes of pentatonic number 5 are this. And that would be part of pentatonic number 5 in the key of E minor. Okay, so all I did was play pentatonic number 1 with my first finger on E, and that becomes E minor pentatonic. This is A minor pentatonic. This is E minor pentatonic. And if we were to do this is number 1. But if we were to go down to pentatonic number 5, which we haven't learned yet, so don't worry, there won't be a quiz on this. That's a sippable, that's a celebratory sip. I haven't been taking sips because I don't have much left. Sorry, checking my phone. Okay, so, but that's that's the top 2 notes, just so you know. So when we get there, you'll go, oh, that's familiar. That's the top 2 notes of pentatonic number 5. If we were to continue, might as well, right? Okay. Then we go here. This is familiar, right? This is pentatonic number 3, but then, see. it's going to be 10, 12, 10, 12, 9, 12, 9, 12, 10, 12, 10, 12. So that's E minor pentatonic, and that would work over the E7 chord. It's going to have the same kind of sound over the E7 chord that the A minor pentatonic had over the A minor chord, or the A7 chord. So there's going to be that G note that's going to clash kind of with the G sharpened chord, but that's intentional. That's what kind of creates that blues sound, all right? Counting down from the top 10 pentatonics. Yeah, so, and so Friday we'll learn pentatonic number 4, and it's good. I mean, I can teach it to you in open position, so I may write it out in open position and also in at 12th fret. So if you're playing acoustic, we can kind of play it down in open position, but I think on electric, and that's going to be, just remember, it's going to be the top of this one is going to be the bottom of the next one, okay? So these 6 notes right here, 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 and here, are going to be basically played by the 1st and 2nd finger in the next shape, okay? Right now they're played by the 3rd and 4th finger, but up here they're going to be played in the next shape. They're going to be played there. So, all right. So let's do a little bit more jamming. I'm going to play the track, and then I'll try to tell you what I'm going to do, and then you do it with me, okay? So here we go. This is the A, D, A, E version. A7 to D7 to A7. So that's the 1, 4, 1, and now we're going to the 5 here. And that's where we get a little more clash. This scale up here, A minor pentatonic, works great over the 1 and the 4, really. That's where you got to make some kind of accommodation. So let's go A again. Now up to B. Up to C. Bend it a little bit. Don't bend it here, because the C sounds great over the D. Bend it a little bit. Now down to the B. To the E chord. Go to the E note up here. I don't want to flip off my audience. Down to D for the D chord. Go to the E again. That's the 5th of the A chord. No quiz, don't worry. And then stay on it for the E chord. You could also go to the D. That's good work. Practice your tremolo picking. G, right here, 3rd fret, 3rd string. 12th fret, 3rd string. Oh, go down to F sharp. Fix that, and then go back to G. And then stay on the G for the E chord. Maybe bend it. Check this out. Play the 12th fret on the G string. Now go down a fret, 11th fret, for the F sharp, over the D, and then back up to G. That's the 7th of the A7 chord. And I go up a fret to G sharp, which is the, see that? You got a little chromatic thing going on. Now, only one of these notes is actually in this scale, But you can see where I can move 1 fret and fix a note. I love the sound of that, the G and the E. That actually even sounds cool with the F sharp and the E. Now we're going to go to G sharp and the E. Okay, go down down to this A note down here, the third on the fifth string. So he wants to go to C sharp. This will work over there. Works over every chord. Bottom two strings. Now the A note isn't bad over the E chord if we're just there for a second, okay? I was using that, I'm losing people because I'm just jamming. What am I, oh, there we go. So when we're on the E chord, that's the flat 3, there's the 4. So as long as we don't sit on the 4, we're okay. That A note is kind of a, you would do that anyway, you know, you would use that 4 a lot. But you can go up from the 4 to the sharp 4, which is also the flat 5, which is the blues note in E minor. Okay. All right, now, so that kind of gives you, you almost have to kind of spend time on this scale to make sure that you're not going to forsake it, because it's actually, like, you can actually find some cool stuff in there, and it's all stuff that you can find down here. And keep in mind, now, of course, my tone is not such. Let me change tones real quick. This tone is so gainy that it's... What does this sound like? This is Born to be Wild. See, I did a Dazed and Confused. Okay, you can hear it. I don't know. It's pretty subtle, so I don't know if it'll actually work via the live stream. This is a little bit bitier, in my opinion. It's a little brighter, bitier, which makes sense because I'm playing the same melody on thinner strings. So it should be a little thinner. This sounds a little woodier. Ooh, it sounds a little woofier. Same lick, just on a different pair of strings. And that's how, you know, that's the beauty of the guitar. We've talked about this before. There's that E sounds totally different than this C, than this C, than this C, than this C. They all sound different, and that's the beauty. Is you've got lots of timbres you can pull from to fit the moment. If you want a woodier sound, you know, like say the band's down low, you know, the band's drop down, you could get. But then if the band is playing like louder, you might need something that's going to cut through a little bit more. Or you can even go to the open position and get those same notes and get something that's going to really cut through. So again, that's one of those. Got rid of some of the big noise. How did you change the tone so quick? How did I change the tone so quick? I've just got a bunch of. This is a session I was working on. I've got. I think I got about 15 different guitar tones right here. Loaded. You know. They're all kind of, in fact, I should probably save some of these. This is the Sunshine, when I came up with Sunshine. this is one my son came up with, kind of. The one I was using was that. Dazed and Confused. This is the one I came up with. This is the one I came up with for this part. I didn't want to. Was my wah-wah even? I think my wah-wah is it? I could have used my wah-wah for that. I probably should have. Would have been more legit. What's this? Black Magic. Yeah, I mean everything's kind of pretty much a little bit on the overly gainy sound. I don't think I used this guitar for this sound. But yeah, so I'm just in Logic. So I've got all these channels loaded in Logic. So all I'm doing is just clicking on the, track number 1 is this sound, track number 2 is this. I just click on it and it changes. It's that easy. Broken Up Ribs. I'm not going to use that sound. I don't like that sound, so I'm just going to delete that track. Get too many tracks sometimes in this. I don't really have issues with software slowing down, but yeah, so I'm working in Logic all day long, and so that's just kind of my go-to. In fact, I'm thinking about doing a video. I haven't done a video in a long time. What's that? I think that's too gainy or too loud for the microphone here. But I did I've got a YouTube, one of my playlists is The Business of Making Music. And the goal of that is to kind of teach all the stuff I wish I'd known at 25 that I didn't learn until I was 50 or something, and things about the business, and maybe big picture kind of stuff, like one of the lessons was on moving to where the action is. Essentially, you're not gonna be a professional studio musician if you're living in rural Montana. Although I could probably, just because I've got so many clients that no matter where I live, I'm going to keep working for them. And I get new ones all the time. So I do 99% of my work from home. And so, feasibly, the hope and the dream is that I could live anywhere and, kind of get a house on the south of France overlooking the Mediterranean. That would be nice, right? I should start hunting for that. I better work on my French. But, sorry, breakfast. I've got all these videos. One of the videos is, like I said, move to where the action is, which is what I did. I moved from Indianapolis. There was barely enough work for one guy in Indianapolis, let alone two. And in LA, there's dozens of guys making a living. And so that's kind of why I moved here, but I didn't realize when I moved here that 20,000 other guys moved here the same year. So it was like massive competition that I was not prepared for. Yeah, 1% is, yeah, at least 1% of my time is spent, no, actually probably more than 1% of my time is spent getting Starbucks, but it's also / exercise. So I think I want to do a video on DAWs, which DAWs, let's see, Tom, I'm kind of referring to what you asked. DAWs are digital audio workstations. Also need to do a video on signal path, and which is how you're hooked into things. And so you can get pretty nerdy with that, and I can get the best guitar cables and the best microphone preamps and the best mic cables to connect it to and the best apogee converter and the best blah, blah, blah. And once everything's said and done, That's how you get your signal path. That's the signal path. The microphone would be like the beginning of a signal path. And then, in fact, I want to do a video on signal path. Let's see, I've got a list. Somebody had a great idea. I don't know if it was one of you, but someone mentioned Pete Townsend for my series. I wonder if he has that big windmill thing that he does, right? And man, and have you seen those old videos of him like whipping his arm around like insanely fast? I'm sure. I remember when he impaled his hand on his tremolo. He actually literally impaled his hand on his tremolo arm doing that. But does that generate a specific sound that you can replicate? You know, a specific strumming groove that you can replicate? I don't know, but there might be. I know, like on. Let's see. He did. I'm gonna. I don't need to. Pinball Wizard. Pinball Wizard is kind of that groove that I did. I think I call it the free range groove, right? Hard to hear it on acoustic. I mean on electric. I love it. The free range groove, which is just pure 16th notes. But with an accent. And I'm generally accenting every third strum. 1 E and 1 2 3, 1 2 3, 1 2 3, 1 2 3, 1 2 1 2 1 2 3. It's one way you can think about it. But if I do a video on DAWs, I will probably just do a video where I'll just talk about them in general terms. Like, for example, you need to get one and learn how to use one. Because if you particularly in the COVID era, if you got all of your money from gigging, you're not making any money. And so if you have some ability to record yourself and you get better and better at it. I mean, I'm always upgrading and I'm always, learning more and more tools and getting, different software and different plugins and things like that. If you're doing that, then you will find that you have more opportunities. And it may not even be playing guitar. You may find you're really good at mixing records. Or recording other people, or things like that. You might be able to do something where, heck, if you got DAW, you may be able to record someone doing voiceover stuff. It may not be music related at all, but at the same time, you're paying the bills. I mean, I've never really been too particular about the kind of music that I work on. It's more about making a living and paying the bills, to be honest. Let's see, YouTube ideas. Here we go. I'm going to see DAW. And that's for the business of making music. And then also signal path. But there are a bunch of them, a bunch of DAWs. DAW is a generic term for digital audio workstation. The one I use, the specific one I use is Logic, but Pro Tools is the most common one. You probably heard of that. And let's see, sorry, I'm trying to get all my windows organized here. Oh, okay, good. No, pay your bills. Pay your bills, Gary. Let's see. So, but Pro Tools, before I used Logic, I've never used Pro Tools. Pro Tools, you can get kind of the Pro Tools free, and that might work for me, the basic entry level thing. But the problem is with Pro Tools is, you can only use it to a point, and then you've got to upgrade. And if you upgrade, then you have to get their external, they're hardware, and it ends up becoming a little bit more expensive than I want to spend. The great thing about Logic is if you've got a Mac computer, it's a $200 software, and that's it. And it will always work with your Apple software. So if you're an Apple user, I recommend Logic to start with and learn. And then if you really want to get into it, you could, especially if you're making records, Pro Tools is really the number one DAW for record makers, record producers. But then, now, and what I used before Logic was Digital Performer, which was a MIDI software before that called Performer in the 80s and 90s. But Digital Performer, I used that, and then I switched to Logic because I got tired of updating my computers and then not having my software work. So this way I know that if my computers are updated, then I know my software is going to work because it's all one company. And then Nuendo, I think, is what Alex uses. My son has switched from Logic to Nuendo, and he loves it. He swears by it. So that might be something where it's... is Pro Tools subscription these days? I don't know. I hate that trend. I really do hate that subscription trend. Because often, it's like the gym I had a membership for 10 years and I never went. And they just kept putting it on my monthly credit card bill. And I kept thinking, I got to go over there and either work out or quit. And I don't want to do either. So it's like, dang it. That's, yeah. So I kind of hate this, the subscription thing. But Pro Tools, they did have the dongle thing, which that's the dongle thing is you have to have this key, basically. It's a USB key plugged into your system so that you can actually use it. And some require that you're online. And it's like, well, what if your internet's down? You can't work? That doesn't make any sense. So that's not good either. It's kind of like Chromebooks. I mean, I get it. They're super cheap, and you can do everything on the internet. You can have Google Docs and everything on the internet. But if the internet's down, your Chromebook, I mean, so frustrating. So, yeah, I'm with you, Diane. Yeah, Hook, that's not, I've never heard of that, but it's, I'm sure it'll get you started. And you'll be able to record some guitars, and it probably has some drum loop things, or it's got drum machines in it. Logic is insanely deep for $200. I can't believe what they give you. I was kind of bummed that they lowered it from, I think it was 1,000, then they lowered it to 5, and then they made it 200. And the reason I was bummed is because I was thinking, okay, great, now it's just going to become GarageBand. It's going to be some kind of like consumer thing, and I'm going to have to switch over to something else. And if I were to switch, I would probably switch to Nuendo, but Logic hasn't degraded at all. It's actually, if anything, I feel like it's upgraded. Now, I don't really use the guitar amps in Logic. A lot of reverbs and stuff I don't use in Logic. I've gotten used to, I just got Amplitude, and I'm messing with that. A lot of the sounds you're hearing today are Amplitude. But I also use Guitar Rig a lot, which is a Native Instruments thing. I usually get Native Instruments complete. And it's about $1,000, so that's actually a lot more expensive. Adobe software. Oh, yeah, monthly subscription. Oh, I know. Isn't that a drag? I just want to own it. I don't care what you charge me. Just charge me $1,000. I want to own it. I don't want to have to. I just hate the subscription thing. Yeah. I did just download a video editor. I messed with it a little bit. Couldn't quite figure it out. I'm sure there's things I'm just not understanding, like the zoom feature, but I tried to do my last video, the one I just released. I don't know if you saw the new one, the Neil Young one, and I tried to work on that with DaVinci, which is pretty big freeware for video editing. It's probably got 3 or 4 times the features that iMovie has. I am thinking about getting. I think it would be a good idea to get Final Cut Pro. I think that's $300. I think it's $299. If they have a half price sale or something like that, I'll probably definitely jump on it. But I don't really do a lot of editing on my videos. Obviously, I'm doing no editing. Although I did edit Monday's video because it started before I knew it started. I'm like, I had to watch to make sure I didn't pick my nose. That would have been gross. But I did cut off that beginning where I didn't realize you guys were watching me. So, Hero, do you use iPad or iPhone to record? No, but you can. It's funny. I did a session with some young songwriters in Hollywood. One of the few times I actually left the house to do a session. It was a couple months ago. Crazy too, because we were in Hollywood and we were on Hollywood Boulevard, kind of on the third floor, and you're looking down and you just see some crazy stuff. I mean, you don't need a TV if you've got Hollywood Boulevard as your window, because there's so much going on down there. It's like, oh my gosh. But I was down there and I recorded the guitar on something. And in the studio with a really nice mic, really nice interface, and I get in the booth, and the kid that I write with a lot, Miles, and he said, "No, can I record it with my iPhone? I like the sound of my iPhone." I was like, okay, so he put the iPhone down, and I just played the same thing with the iPhone, and they ended up using that as the track, which is interesting. So he wanted that kind of lo-fi microphone sound for the acoustic guitar. I think, particularly in pop, you don't want to, sometimes the too refined sound just sounds dated. Oh, weird. Lots of ads on Monday's recording. Huh. Oh, you know what? I think I saw that. Hold on a second. Let me pull that up. Let me just take a look at that, because I think it's embedding ads like when I don't even ask for them. Go to Edit, click on Monetization. I saw a bunch of little, see, manage mid-roll. See, I didn't put those in. I don't know what the heck that was. See, that's so weird. It did that automatically. And it only did it to the 55-minute mark, 59-minute. So I'm deleting them right now. Not all of them. I usually put one in every half hour. So, there'll be one at the front, and then that's so weird. It literally, I'm taking them out right now. It literally put in 30 of them, like one every 2 minutes. That's so weird. And I always put one at the end, not that anybody ever watches to the end. I can do overlay ads too, because, no, I'll take that off. Okay. So, yeah, sorry about that. Let me see if it did it to, that was, I didn't do that. Let me see if it did it on the video before. I noticed that the other day, and I had to delete a bunch, and I was like, what the heck is that all about? Manage mid-roll. See, I've got a thing. See, this one doesn't have any, I don't think. Ad break. I want to add one. Okay. And then I go 30 minutes in, and I hit add. I also need to do a video on how to YouTube. I also don't, on these videos, I don't generally put tags. I should, but it's just so many videos. I for a while there I was doing it, but it's like, I'm sure maybe that helps, but anyway, isn't that weird? That is so weird. Well, I got rid of them. So yeah, so generally on these long videos, I'll put an ad in every 30 minutes. I figure that's one ad, it's not going to kill you. And within 3 or 4 seconds, you can click them off. But yeah, it was like they had it set every, I don't know that's not a setting. Oh, you bit the bullet and signed up for premium just because of that? I get paid more from premium users, which makes some sense, but they actually pay more. I can see the breakdown between, it used to be YouTube and YouTube Red, but I think they're called premium users now, and so your pay rate is higher on a YouTube premium. So, don't do it, Hook. It's a trap. Oh, interesting. Well, what platforms are they moving to? I think, too, if you are using copyrighted material, you don't get to choose how many commercials there are. I heard Rick Beato complain about that. BitChute. It looks like you say it's because something else. I've not heard of BitChute. I'll have to check that out. Yeah, I think if I were to have 3 copyright infractions, and so far I've contested every one of them that they've accused me of, and I've won, so I have 0 strikes against me. But if you have 3 of those, you're banned again, I guess. I'm not sure how I mean, I get a new email address and create a new account, but you lose all your followers and everything. But I think if it's deemed that you're using copyrighted material, then, which doesn't make any sense. Oh, that's good to know. Oh, another moderator. Okay, you took care of it, Bruce. Thanks, Bruce. Yeah. Well, and also there's, but I don't know how they get monetized, but. And people are doing Facebook stuff. I don't know if that's monetized, or I don't know if Instagram is monetized. I don't know how that works, to be honest. But what's the other one that's kind of been around almost as long as YouTube? I can't think of it. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm really really want to get to 100,000 subscribers, right, Bruce? Bruce and I were talking yesterday, and yeah, I'm almost to 81,000, right? Am I almost? Let's see, where am I at? YouTube. 80, like 971. So, and up a little bit for the last 28 days. So I'm 1,100 new subscribers in the last 28 days, but that still means that it's going to be. Maybe by the end of 2021, I'll have 100,000, which is a long way away, in my opinion, especially if we're locked down. Now, do I have the button to end stream? I do have the end stream button, which is nice. The start stream button wasn't there. So weird. So once I connected with with my OBS software, it totally started streaming. Oh, Vimeo. Thank you, Tom. That's the one. And Twitch, I have a Twitch account. I thought about doing this on Twitch, but Daily Motion. That one predates. Yes, that was up. Daily Motion was up before YouTube. I forgot about them. Vivo is part of YouTube. Maybe they were bought by YouTube or absorbed by YouTube. Vivo may have been because Vivo I usually think of as being the actual artists themselves. So. Diane, I need to think of a story. I still haven't remembered the one I thought of the other day where I was like, oh, this would be a good story for Diane. So we're going to move on. So on Friday, which is the 100th, the 100th, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 COVID live stream, we're going to go to pentatonic number 4, which, like pentatonic number 3, has only 2 blues roots, or minor roots, and 2 major roots, okay? But it kind of feels a little bit like pentatonic number 1. It's based around a double bar chord, this chord here, like this D chord, this chord that you can usually find pretty easy. So if you can, I know that's a C chord, then you can pretty easily find pentatonic number 4. So that also means that, when it's right next to a chord you use a lot, it's going to be a more common pentatonic. It's like this pentatonic number 1 is right there where your A chord is. So you're going to naturally can go back and forth between rhythm and lead because it's right there. You watch your favorite Bonnie, her Minecraft on Twitch. Yeah, I have watched some art singers and songwriters and stuff on Twitch. There's a guy that's always on. I don't know if he ever sleeps. The Russian guy playing accordion. Have you seen him? So yeah, we're gonna party on Friday, and then I will watch I will watch sometimes people play Apex Legend because I played all the guitars on Apex Legend. Cheers. That's a punitive sip for my braggadocio. I had a band in high school called My Braggadocio. That's another sip. That's another punitive sip. Okay, let's see. Band in high school. Okay, my band in high school was called Rendezvous. Actually called Rendezvous, so that's not a sip. Trying to think of any stories about that. Well, I told you about the one where we did a gig down at Indiana, two gigs, a Saturday night and a Sunday afternoon gig down in Bloomington at Indiana University. We were all in high school, and I told you that. We stayed at my future brother-in-law's art studio, which was a house that was the school rented for a bunch of art professors so they could have art studios. So they took an old house, old kind of farmhouse kind of thing, but in the city. So I guess it wasn't a farmhouse. And everybody had their own room, and they were painting in there. So, but my brother-in-law, my future brother-in-law, he was actually living there too, which he wasn't supposed to. But we stayed there. But I think I told you that story because I'm pretty sure that's one already. New Apex Legends coming out. Yeah, I've been playing on it. I've been busy with them. I've been told I can't say, but I've been told there's going to be work on that for a long time for me. So that's good. And hopefully Twitch is paying royalties now. Hopefully I'll start to see some money from it because God bless him, Stephen Barton, the composer, he's putting me down as a co-writer on all the music for Apex Legend, which he totally did not have to do. He's paying my wage, so but he feels like what I'm contributing to the music is creative and justifies a writer's credit, which is super cool. And so I'm blessed about that. Let's see. Now I probably talked about. See, some of you have been with me from day one, so it's tough to come up with stories. Thanks, Leo. Although I haven't seen any money yet from it, I'm not sure when Twitch started paying royalties. I know they set aside some money, and again, I don't know how much that is I think it's only like $2.5 million or $5 million or something like that, and you're talking a lot of content up there. So it could be pennies. I get pennies in royalties from YouTube and places like that for music that I have up there with different artists. My BMI statement is probably that thick, but some pages will have a penny, lines and lines of 2 pennies, 3 pennies, and so you get a total of 47 cents a page. And other pages are thousands of dollars, so you just never know. Yes, I should think about my story for 100, huh? Oh, thanks, Gary, for putting the pressure on me. Dang it. So if I think of a good one right now, I'm going to save it. I'm not going to use it right now. I'm going to make up a story as I go. I'm just going to make up something that never really happened. Dang it, I can't think. Yeah, Tread was crazy, huh? I watched it the other day too. I didn't even hear my music, but I didn't write it. I played on it, but I played mostly ukulele, so I don't know that I would have noticed my playing at any point. Exactly, you can imagine. But Tread is about the Killdozer guy, and it was a very bizarre story, and maybe a little bit on the one-sided side, but I mean, nothing justifies what he did. but it almost made it sound like everyone involved said they didn't really do. They didn't even see it coming. They didn't do anything to him. They didn't, and he just went crazy. But he didn't seem like a crazy type. He just seemed like a man at the end of his rope, and he was going to take it out, on them. But again, I know people that think everything is everybody else's fault, and that's kind of what the story is about more than anything. But it's fascinating. So it's a documentary on the guy in Colorado, 2005, I think, that built basically a concrete and steel cage around his bulldozer and just tore the town to shreds. I mean, I didn't realize until I watched that movie how much damage he actually did. And there's a lot, and this is 2005. There's a lot of footage of all the damage. So, okay, that's good. Thank you, Bruce, for doing that. Yeah, I was just praying for Kathy yesterday after we spoke. I was lifting her up a little bit. I feel bad. I know she's and she could be watching, just not logging, not chatting. So it's not cool to talk about people when they're not around. But she was a big part of this channel at the very beginning, so I really appreciate her a lot, and I hope she's doing very well. Oh no. Gary said, I played Reuben in Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat and lost my pants right to my ankles in the front row of the hoedown. I pulled them up and spun off the stage. See, now, Gary, you got to stretch that out. See, if you were like me, if I had that story, I would stretch it out so it was a 15-minute story. You know that, right? So the stage stuff. Have I been on? I have. So I'm looking for something to trigger a story. So if you're wondering, this is the scale we use, but we're done with that for now. I'm on to story time. And if you want, at the beginning of this lesson, we did a lot of. I kind of had you copy what I was playing, so hopefully that was. I noticed no comments were happening, so I'm assuming everybody was doing it. So kind of a good jam along with Tom kind of moment. And I will probably do that in the future on any other shapes we're doing. And we're gonna finish the pentatonic scales. We're on 3 of 5, so we're gonna do 4 of 5 Friday. I've got to remember to create the graphics so that we have graphics here because I don't have those yet created. And then I'm gonna go back to and redo them all. But we're going to add the blues note to it. We're kind of doing that now, but I'm going to make it more intentional. So that instead of 5-note scales, we're going to have 6-note scales. So we're going to have the pentatonic plus the blues note. So it'll be a 6-note scale instead of 5. Something silly I did with my kids. Well, I miss my father-in-law so much. My wife's father was such a great guy, and he just passed away. He passed away while we were in Barcelona, unexpectedly. And so that kind of stank, but we still ended up having a really good time in Barcelona, and then we came home, and then I regret I didn't go to the funeral because I'd already been off work for 10 days, and I had to get back to L.A., and so I changed Beth's reservation. Instead of flying from Barcelona to L.A., I flew her to Indianapolis and then to L.A. And I didn't know he put me down as a pallbearer. Had I known that, I would have gone. But I do regret not going to the funeral. But he was a great guy, and one of the things that was cool about our kids got to do every summer for probably 3 to 4 weeks. They would spend 3 or 4 weeks out of the year in Indiana and Michigan. And what that allowed them was to get a completely different experience in life than living in Pasadena, which our apartment in Pasadena was pretty much an old town area. It's very much a big city kind of vibe. I mean, Pasadena is a small town, but living in LA and everything like that. Oh, thanks, Leo. Need a pen. Good thing you weren't going commando. So they would get, 2 to 3 weeks in Indiana, staying with my in-laws, and they live out in the country. My father-in-law was owned grain mills. He had like 3 grain mills, and so he worked within the farming community his whole career. He got an engineering degree from DePaul actually, way back back in the 50s, and so that's what he did. So they lived out, and they, nice house, and they had a pool. They got rid of the pool, but they had one of those in-ground pools that was kind of a plastic in-ground. It was a nice pool, but and cold. Boy, it was cold. But so the kids, they would just go out and they would be swimming all day, or they'd be out playing in the fields, or they'd go out and play in the woods. I mean, they'd ride their bikes. I mean, it was just like really, really fun. Oh, they across the street from my father-in-law's home. My mother-in-law still lives there, and there is a cemetery. So we would walk over to the cemetery. Did I tell that story? I wonder if I told this story. I think I did. How did I get into worship leading? Well, Stephen, that was... Let me tell that, and then Diane, I'll get back to the story, okay? I'm going to write this down so I don't forget. Okay. I need a piece of paper. Here we go. Stories for Diane. Okay, but Scott, is it? Scott, you want to know how I got into worship leading? Stephen Stout. That's what it was. Okay. Cemetery. All right. So, Stephen, I was playing at several churches, playing guitar. I was playing guitar at an Adventist church on Saturday mornings. I was playing guitar at my church on Saturday nights. And then some Sunday mornings, I was playing. Where was I playing Sunday mornings? I don't know. Sunday night, I was playing at a Presbyterian church in La Cañada, playing guitar at all those churches. So backing up different worship leaders. And it would have been early 90s, maybe 95? I can't remember. 95, I think. I was playing guitar, and they were paying me $50 every Saturday morning at the Adventist church. I was doing it for about a year. In fact, I got that and the Sunday night gig at the Presbyterian church from the same guitar player who decided to stop doing them. And so he gave me those gigs, and so I think one paid 50 and one paid 75 or something like that. And trust me, that was huge for us at the beginning. That was a lot of money. And see you later, Catherine. Thanks, Bob. Dad joke. So the worship leader at the Adventist church moved out of town and too far away to commute, to justify the commute. And so they asked me, even though I'd never led worship before, they asked me, except I had led worship in my Sunday school class with my wife. I touched my face so we can take a sip. My wife and I used to lead worship for our Sunday school class, but that was just kind of the two of us standing up and singing songs, which is what worship leading is. But anyway, it wasn't as organized. So I said, well, I don't know, what's it pay? And they said $100. And I said, hey, I just doubled my pay. So I basically started leading worship at an Adventist church on Saturday mornings, and just doing the same music I did in any other church. And so that was kind of how I got into it. And then I would sub occasionally at the big church that I went to, and then I started doing it Sunday night in another church, and then I got a job on Sunday morning playing at leading worship at a Baptist church because their worship leader, so the Adventist church was like 50 people, and then the Baptist church was like 500 people, and just down the street from Tommy Walker's church in Eagle Rock. So I was leading there. I actually led there for 2.5 years, and then I got but I didn't want the full-time position, so they kept looking for someone, and they took their time. So that's why I had it for 2.5 years, that job, leading worship there. and then I went to, and then when they finally hired someone, then I didn't have a job anymore. I could stay and play guitar, but it didn't pay as much. And I had this guy that was Joshua at my church now was asking me to come over there and play guitar there. And he said, I want you to lead worship too. I'm like, okay, great. So I end up going to Shepherd. And so I'm leading worship on Saturday morning, playing at Shepherd Saturday night, Sunday morning. And then I didn't start playing at Shepherd until I was playing Sunday morning at Shepherd, but then I didn't start playing Saturday until they added a second service. So then it was 2 Saturdays and 3 Sundays, and then I could justify driving out there because it was a drive from Pasadena. And then I still had a Sunday night thing. so I had I was doing 7 services every weekend. And then, but only 2 of them was I leading worship at. Saturday morning, Sunday night. And then a whole year went by at Shepherd, and I only led worship once. And so I realized that I could make a lot more money leading worship, and there were a lot of churches looking for worship leaders. So I started to shop around a little bit. Even though I really liked being at Shepherd, it was clear that Joshua wasn't going to have me lead very often. So I felt like, well, I need to move on. And then he asked me to lead for 2 weeks right at that time because he was dealing with, he told me he was dealing with allergies. And so I led for 2 weeks, and then they asked me to lead for another 6 weeks. And then they asked me to lead they kept extending it. They, added another 8 weeks, another 10 weeks. Well, Stephen, what I did do was, yes, I was starting to get burned out, so I went ahead and quit the Adventist church gig and the Sunday night gig because I was making enough at Shepherd to more than compensate for the other 2, and I was burning out my voice because that was for a while there. Well, the Shepherd thing was just kind of like I said. They just said, "Oh, we need you for 2 weeks." Oh, okay, we're going to extend that 6 weeks. Well, it turns out that Joshua, the worship leader, had throat cancer, but he wasn't telling anybody. And you'd think he would have told me, but he wasn't telling anybody. And so I basically, didn't quit any of those other jobs because I didn't know how long this one was going to go. But I was getting burned out for sure. And I did the Shepherd gig for about 2.5 years, and then I quit from that as well. So I haven't led worship since 2005. I did a little stint at a church plant of theirs, maybe 6 weeks while they hired somebody. In Simi Valley. I did that for a little while just to help them out. But I felt like that was really my role, was to help out churches while they found somebody who really wanted the job, because it really wasn't my thing. But 2005 is kind of about the time that once I quit leading worship at Shepherd, that's about when my career started to get busy. Although we lost a lot of income that year. My wife also quit her job teaching to homeschool the kids. So our income went down about 75-80% in 1 year. The crazy thing was, we lost 75% of our income, but the next year the revenue didn't go down at all because I was working. I got so much work. I started working, and so that was really cool. So anyway, that's kind of how I got into it, and I'm not doing it anymore. So yeah, Gary, live theater. Well, and that's the other thing about my father-in-law. He started the Putnam County Playhouse in Greencastle, Indiana, and it started. I think originally they were doing like 4 musicals or 4 were they all musicals? I'm pretty sure they were all musicals, but maybe not. Maybe there were 2 musicals and 2 plays every year. You can look it up, Putnam County Playhouse in Indiana. They've got a website, and they have a list of all. I think they've got all their programs up there, as you can see. And he didn't direct them all, but he ran the program, and you would usually direct 1 or 2 every summer. And my wife was in a bunch of them as a kid, and he did that for years and years and years. And shortly after they started, some lady donated a barn, and so they turned this barn into a theater, and it's really, really, really cool. I mean, it's just amazing. This giant barn is into a public repertoire theater. It's so Indiana. It's so rural. It's wonderful. It's a lot like Waiting for Guffman, if you've ever seen. Oh, I touched my face. Oh, shoot. Buffering. Oh, my goodness, down to 0. What the heck? What is going on? YouTube, what are you doing? All right, back. That was weird. It really was. It was really. Oh, error. There's not enough. I think you can see me now, though. Stream health is fine. Well, it says. Hit the, yeah, Charlie B. Why two? No, it's got to be more than two. So I got 27 likes here. It says. Okay, I think we're back, right? Yeah, the musicals. Boy, I heard. New York is just devastated. New York City is devastated. I don't know that. I mean, part of me wants to go there to help them in a year or two, just to go to Broadway play or whatever. But I don't know that anybody's going to want to go to New York. It's so devastated, and I don't know if Broadway's going to survive. They're closed till 2021, and who knows? I know they're trying to put on a happy face. I know Cuomo said that they're going to open schools up, so we'll see. No matter what, when you start to open things up, you're going to have more cases. It's just going to happen. I don't want to say spikes. You're going to get more cases. So you can't put off, or you can't close it every time you open up. Every time you just got to ride it out, I think. But people are going to die. But that's just, people are going to die anyway. And if there's no businesses, I'm sorry, I'm ranting here. Okay, so let me tell my cemetery story. Okay, so where my in-laws live, they live kind of across the street from a cemetery, the local cemetery, and so. We'd walk over there with the kids. It was, always be hot and humid, and we'd walk over and we'd look at the grave markers and all that, and just walk around. And some about walking through a graveyard is kind of peaceful and also kind of gives you a lot of perspective, like all of these people had probably walked through graveyards at some point, but some hadn't. And there was kind of a row of markers that were babies that didn't even make it to their first birthday, and all around the same time. And so there must have been some flu or pandemic or something, or some kind of I can't remember, turn of the century type stuff. I don't know if it was Spanish flu. It wasn't that late, I don't think. But there was one. I remember seeing one of the markers, and I think it said. It looked like a baby in a shell, and I realized now it was baby in hands, and it said "safe in the arms of Jesus" or something like that on the marker and on the gravestone and tombstone, I guess you'd call it. And so I wrote back when I was leading worship, Stephen. I was leading worship, and I was working for Maranatha Music. Doing the clinics back in the late 90s. And that's how I ended up actually going to Shepherd, and that's how they got to know me, and they asked me to be part of their program over there, was because I taught a clinic there. But back then, because I was working for Maranatha Music, I was writing more worship songs, and I was doing a lot of my worship songs so I wrote a song called "In the Arms of Jesus" because that's what I remembered the tombstone saying. I didn't write it down, and I got it wrong. It's "safe in the arms of Jesus" or "safe in the hands of Jesus" or something is what was on the marker. But so I wrote a worship song called "In the Arms of Jesus," and I used to do it. In fact, I got asked to do it at a lot of funerals for babies, which was brutal. I actually got pretty good at singing it without crying. But sometimes I would have people from church join me, and they couldn't do it. They could not sing it. They could not, I'd sing it, and they'd try to sing the harmonies and everything. And, it's like, boy, it's been a long time. That's a little high for me now, too. There's a place I know where you're safe at home. Where is this place I know? In the arms of Jesus. So, it's typical kind of fingerstyle James Taylor kind of vibe. And that's the A section, and the B section I can't remember right now. But and that's basically the song. Anyway, so I'd written a song, and I was like, oh, hey, I have the kids with me. I'm giving Beth a break. So the kids are pretty little. I'd say they're probably like 12, 10, and 5. No, 12, 10, and 7. No, maybe younger than that. Maybe 10, 7, and 5. And so, or 10, 8, and 5. And we walk across the, hot, long, there's a big grassy area before you get to the cemetery, and there's a tree line and a ditch, and you have to go down that, and then once you come up from the ditch, then it's the cemetery. And so it's a hot, humid day. It was back when I was wearing I was wearing light gray khakis a lot. So I had light gray khakis on, tennis shoes, and I was wearing just a plain white t-shirt because I was trying to not have the sun bake me, because anytime I wore anything dark out there, I was just melting. Just not used to the humidity anymore, after living in California. So we're walking over there and walking around, and we're trying to find, the kids are trying to help. I'm kind of making a game out of it. Like I said, trying to give Beth a break. Trying to make a game out of trying to find the tombstone that says "In the Arms of Jesus." And we're walking around and we're looking for tombstones, and it's a pretty big cemetery. It's for the whole county, I think. And so we're walking around, and this guy comes up in a golf cart, and he says, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I'm like, at first I thought, "Oh shoot, are we not supposed to be here?" But of course that's not the case. You can go walking through the cemetery. And I said, "Oh well, we're looking for see ya, Hook. We're looking for I'm a songwriter. I wrote the song. We're looking for a marker, a grave marker." That says "In the Arms of Jesus." And he goes, "Oh, okay, and he goes, "Well, let me go to the office and see. Maybe it's listed there or something." And I went, "Oh, okay, cool." So he took his golf cart and he went off. And no, I think. So I'm trying to remember the order of what happened. I think what happened was he said, "Hey, well," before he went to the office, he said, "Hey, do you want me to drive you around?" And I go, "Well, yeah, we've already looked at all these. Might want to go over there, and you could take us over there." So he put us in the golf cart. I sat in the front with him, and then the 3 kids were having a blast because they were sitting in the back and hanging on, and they thought that was really cool. And he said something like, "Is it okay if I take you, over there?" And I said, "Oh yeah, sure, as long as you don't kill us." I just said, because it's a cemetery, I'm thinking this is a grave digger, he's got holes all prepared, ready to go, and I'm thinking, yeah, as long as you don't kill us and bury us, So he takes us over there and to this other place, and we're walking around, we're looking, he's kind of walking around with us, and he goes, "So now wait, what kind of song did you write? What do you do?" And I said, "Well, it's a worship song." And he goes, "Oh, are you a pastor?" And I said, "Well, not really. I'm kind of a worship leader at a church." He goes, "Hey, would you pray for me?" And I went, "Oh, sure." Why? And he goes, "Well, I'm a prisoner at that jail over there, and I'm on work furlough right now, and my girlfriend's going to have a baby on July 4th, and I'm not going to be able to be there for that." And I'm like, and I go, "That whole killing thing was a joke, right?" And he just kind of goes, "Yeah." And I like dig a little deeper, and it turns out he goes, "Yeah, I used to live. Oh, you're from California? I used to live in Riverside." I go, "Really? You live in Riverside?" "Yeah. Well, I only went there just to learn how to make meth, crystal meth, and then he came back to Indiana, and that's what he got arrested for. He had a meth factory, so that's why he's in prison at the jail in Indiana, in rural Indiana. He was on a work furlough." Working in the cemetery. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I got my kids right there, and I'm just kind of like, so, but it's cool. He seems like a kind of a reform, he's reformed and or not reformed, but rehabilitated. And maybe he's reformed, I don't know. We didn't get the theology. And so I basically I said, "Let's pray," and I prayed for him, and I prayed for his wife, and I prayed for also, the health of the baby and all that stuff. And he was really, really blown away. So, so so he said, that's when he said, "Oh, you know what? Let me go to the office and see if they have anything about grave markers that say 'In the Arms of Jesus.'" And I said, great, thank you so much. That would be really nice of you. And so he takes his golf cart and he goes to the office and to the little building there, and now it's too hot. I'm tired. The kids are ready to go back, and we got to get some lemonade or something. So we walk back to the house, and we're sitting at the picnic, the dining room table, and they have this great room with a big giant window that faces out into the grassy area that on the other side of where the cemetery is and stuff. So we're sitting there, and I'm telling my father-in-law, the story. Talking to the convict that was got arrested and put in prison for running a meth lab that he learned how to do in California. California. #California. And my father-in-law goes, well, you didn't tell him where I live, did you? And I'm sitting in the seat. We're drinking this lemonade, trying to cool down. The kids are all sitting there. And I see on the road in front of the house the guy in the golf cart and another guy driving back and forth in front of the house, like looking. And I'm like, they're right there. And I go out through the garage and I come out the garage and the guy goes, oh, there you are. Because I was wearing light gray khakis and white shirt. And touch my face. You can take a sip. My wife comes out. My father-in-law kind of comes out and kind of keeping an eye on things. And the guy said, "I don't know where you disappeared. You just disappeared. You're all in white. I thought you were like my guardian angel or something." And Beth says under her voice, she goes, "Figures the kind of angel I'd get," which is a quote from White Christmas, right? Not White Christmas. Sorry, that's a quote from It's a Wonderful Life. Figures you're the kind of angel I would get. It was classic. It was pretty funny. My father-in-law was pretty upset that I but I just talked to everybody. And I didn't discriminate. He seemed like a nice guy, and he was going to try to make it, work after, hopefully he got out eventually and was able to be a good dad. Who knows? Yeah, this is we'll call this the Breaking Bad story, exactly. So that was the my cemetery story there in Indiana and with the kids, and pretty funny though. But that's so now I gotta come up with a story though. Yeah, 1918 was the year of the Spanish flu. But I think these were actually more like turn of the century, like 1900, if I'm not mistaken. They may actually have a website where they list all of the interned. It's and there's actually a website if you don't know about it. If you're looking for grave, look up Find a Grave, and you can find grave markers for that. People will take pictures and post them, even if they don't know who they are. They'll do it for you, So you can even request one be done. Somebody will probably, you say, hey, can somebody take a picture of my great-grandfather's grave here at this location? And they may, somebody may do it. It doesn't cost anything. It's just if they do it. So, 29. Woo. Freezing. Yeah, so I think we're good with the freezing. Okay, I'm going to take off. I got to get some work done. And we can... excuse me. We'll we'll do number 4, Pentatonic number 4 on Friday, which will be the 100th live stream since COVID. So, definitely take it easy on the chemicals. Yeah, I sat next to. I was flying somewhere. I went through Phoenix. I was probably on Southwest, flying through Phoenix, and I sat next to a guy that was having to fly back to Phoenix because he bought a house and he rented it to some people that had turned it into a meth lab. And of course they got arrested and taken out, but he had to strip the entire house down to the studs because if the poisons get into the walls and everything, so into the drywall. So he had to literally, he said as soon as I finish it, I'm selling the house. I'm staying out of the rental game. And he goes, they tested fine, not tested, but they had a good application. But anyway, so all right. I've got the end stream button, so I'm going to end the stream right now. I'll see you guys on Friday. Thank you so much for watching. I think we peaked at 39, which is pretty darn good. Oh, 43. Wow. That's good. That's good. Average watch time, 6 minutes, 26 seconds, which is hilarious. But I think some of you refresh, and if you refresh, then that resets that clock. So, but there are people that tune in definitely and tune right out. I see that. But, okay. I will talk to you soon. Almost 200 hours of live streaming. You're right. That's insane. I'm insane. It's because I'm so needy. I need the attention. So, Pentatonic number 4 on Friday, and hopefully everything will be well. And I'm assuming I do have now here. I'm going to give you one caveat. I am about to work on that record that I told you about. I did one song for it so far, and because what happened was the producer arranger did one song. I played on it, and I went to his studio to do it. And the artist loved it. So the producer has now arranged 10 songs, and so we've got to record. I'm going to do most of the guitars on those. I think he said 7 or 8 of those songs I'll be playing guitar on. So that may happen. I'm going to have to work around his schedule. And normally we start a little later in the day, but I think lately he's been starting things earlier. So, oh gosh, my belly. That's not a good look. So if that happens, I will post here. I will try to post on Discord, on my Facebook, and on the YouTube channel that I'm not going to be here Friday, okay? And we'll move it to whenever I move it to. I'm not sure how many days we're going to need to do this, but we'll have to do it. And oh, John, good to see you, man. Yeah, you jumped in late, but that's all good. Okay, God bless you guys. Thank you so much, and practice those pentatonic things, and have fun. And I have jams up there. Look for the intro to improv videos. There's some jams. I can post those. Remind me on our next lesson, either Friday or next week, to post those. I can put links here to those videos so you guys can have jam along tracks. Okay? I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.